they were speeding down the street, coming as fast as they possibly could. But by the time they arrived, the entire house, it was just completely up in flames. And this didn't seem like some small isolated fire or something that was only in the garage or only in the back bedroom or somewhere like that. It seemed like the entire literal house was burning and engulfed in flames before anyone even noticed. Now, as you can imagine, pretty soon things around the neighborhood were total chaos. I mean, fire trucks were coming in, firefighters were everywhere, there were the sirens, neighbors were starting to come outside looking to see what was happening and what was going on. But the first responders were focused on one thing and one thing only: getting into that house and checking for anyone inside, hoping to be able to get them out safely. Meanwhile, though, something was happening. It seemed like the family who was living inside this home, they had woken up in time to find their home completely up in smoke, and they had miraculously taken things into their own hands before these firefighters even arrived. So as all of these first responders were arriving on the scene, there were these cries and these shouts for help coming from the side of the house. And sure enough, that is where they found a family of 3 people just safely outside of the home. There was 46-year-old Amaduso, his wife, Hawaka, and their 10-year-old daughter, Adama. Now, all 3 of them had jumped out of the second-story window to safety. Now, luckily, Amaduso had only fractured his left foot when jumping out of this window. However, his wife, Hawaka, had way more intense injuries. She had shattered her spine in 2 places and was just in very, very rough shape. Luckily, their daughter was completely fine, and given the situation that they were even alive to tell and share their story, that was nothing short of a miracle. Intense injuries or not, you're alive and you're able to get medical attention and hopefully, recover fully. So that was a huge blessing here. Now, of course, the home was still on fire, but there was now at least this slight sigh of relief from the first responders, because it seemed like the family had made it out of the house and they weren't going to be dealing with any casualties, right? They're not going to be opening this door to this home and finding an entire family who was asleep, dead, and burned and perished, which would be great, right? That's what anybody would hope for. Well, in short, the answer was no. That's not what happened. Because it wasn't just Amadou, Hawaka, and Adama who were living in that home. In fact, they were only 3 out of 9 people in that house. There was Amadou's family, the Sows, and then there was a whole other family, the Deals. Now, when the firefighters learned that there was this whole other entire family still inside the house, they immediately jumped into action. The fire had already gotten completely out of control, and the smoke, it was super thick in the air. They knew they needed to act fast, and it really didn't take very long to find the other people living in the home. Firefighters broke down the front door, and they were immediately met with flames and smoke coming out of it. And once they got close to clear the front door area, that's when they saw 1-year-old Khadija. His 29-year-old Jabril and his 23-year-old wife, Ajab. But it didn't end there, because not too far away from Ajab was her sister-in-law, Hassan, who was only and was still inside the house. They immediately jumped into action. Excuse me.